Hello everyone. So in this tutorial I'll be showing you guys how to create a decal in Blender. This is for beginners and it's going to be being used with Decal Machine. So let's go. So the first part of this, we're going to delete this box and we're going to go ahead and adjust this light, and we're going to make this into an area light. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust the light down once I select area, and I'm going to select the light bulb there to adjust. We're going to go around 300, 360, somewhere in there, and we're going to adjust the color a little bit to more of a little bit bluish, and we're going to actually bring in a disc or circle, and in here we're going to adjust this up. We want to make this a lot of detail. Again, when you're making a decal, you want to have a lot of detail. It just makes the decal look that much better. So I'm going to bring this up. I'm also bringing the screencast keys here so we can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I created the disc, and now I'm actually going to go, or circle, and I'm going to select that and basically hit the F key, and that creates the face. So real quick, for those that are interested in Sci-Fi Decals, I have just recently released a pack of 45 decals to Gumroad and Blender Market. For anyone that would like to purchase these, I have included links in the description below. Okay, so let's get back to the tutorial. Thanks. Okay, so now that I got that created, I'm going to go back into the actual edit mode here, select on the top left, and we're going to select it and basically do an inset. Make sure you have this actual face selected first, and just pull this in. You want to make sure that the edge of this is exactly at 0, 0, 0. Alright, so we've got that brought in with the inset, and now we're going to actually use the extrude key, or you select the button and actually bring it down. And in here, we're actually going to do a Shift D to this section here. So we create a secondary object within this object. So now I'm going to select this line with Alt and left mouse button. And then I'm actually going to hit Control B to do a bevel on this with a chamfer. And basically that's going to be a chamfer. And then the edges of that chamfer, I'm going to add in a bevel to each of those edges. So we'll bring this out so it's nice and smooth. Again, use the Alt left click on those two lines, and with the Shift Alt on the second line. Alright, so now I need to select this section here. So go to edit mode, select this. Again, I need to separate this out. So we need to go to a mesh and actually go separate selection. And once you do that, it becomes two separate objects. Now select object mode again, and now it's separate from the other object. That's what the goal is here. Alright, so that's that. So now I need to smooth this out a little bit and clean it up a little bit. So actually in object mode, I'm going to go to hard ops, just to make this easier. I'm going to hit the sharpen on this and use C sharp. And that gives me a really nice edge around this model. If you don't have hard ops, then I'll show you basically the other option to create the hard edges. So first we're going to select this object here and hide it. Okay, now go to right click and hit Shade Smooth. And again, back in edit mode, we're going to select this line here with the line tool and use the Alt key again with the left mouse button. And here we're going to actually mark sharp. That will actually get that what we need for this edge piece. That looks pretty much the same thing as what we're just seeing with the hard ops. Just one less step with hard ops. So again, back in edit mode, I'm going to go ahead and do a few more of these. So we're going to select both these lines. Again, I'm going to use the Shift Alt key, and now select the left mouse button. And again, we're going to go right click and mark sharp. Now we're going back to the object mode here. See what this looks like. Alright, so now we can unhide the other object. And we're going to go to edit mode. So here on the face, make sure we select the face tool here, select it, and we're going to hit the extrude button to bring this upward. Alright, now so I'm going to actually add a bevel to this. So I'm going to pull this out with Control B, and then I'm going to make that into a chamfer instead of a bevel. So just one basically, it becomes a chamfer. If you have more than one, it becomes a bevel. Alright, so that looks good. And again, I'm going to use the inset tool to bring this in a little bit. Again, we're going to start selecting some things just to give it some additional design. So go to the top view here to see what I'm doing. So basically I'm going to select these two sections here, and then I'm going to select another two sections. Then I'm going to hit the Shift plus Control. Basically I'm going to do this first, every other one. So make sure you select every other one with the Control key. And now I'm going to hit the Shift plus Control, and then I'm going to go all the way around. That way you can do every other one all the way through the whole thing. Because these are 100 sections, so it's important to make it easier on yourself. Okay, so that's selected. Now the next one, I'm going to select the bottom piece here. Hit the Shift key and do the next one. And again, I'm going to hit the Shift plus Control plus the number pad to continue this process through all the way to the other end. Cool. All right. So basically 48 times. It's divided into 100. So let's extrude along normals on this one. And next we're actually going to a certain point here, and then we're going to go ahead and select another area. Now I'm going to actually hit the inset on the top here, bring that back in a little bit more. Again, we're going to hit this actually extrude and bring this down. I'm the actually S key twice to scale that section in. And again, we're going to select with the line tool and select the Alt key again, select this edge here. And we'll hit the Control B again, and we'll pull this out and add a little bit more detail along this edge here. A nice bevel. All right, so let's go ahead and select some of these intersections first. So we're going to go throughout the whole thing and just select 48 sections of these two sections here. Make sure you don't select the wrong pieces. And basically we'll go throughout the whole thing. So again, use the left mouse button to hold down while you're pulling these, and use the Shift key so you can continue the process throughout. And basically fast forward through this section to save some time. So now I got all these selections set. I'm going to go ahead and also select this other edge here throughout this whole thing. This way when I actually do the actual bevel, I can do all these at the same time. It's just a much easier way to do it. So it's a little tedious, but just go around. All this extra detail will make it look that much nicer when you're actually making your actual decal. Just make sure you select the right ones, not the wrong ones. So again, I'm going to go through this process. I'm going to fast forward. All right, so now I got all these selected. I'm going to hit the Control B, and I'm going to pull this out so it can add a nice bevel throughout this whole thing. Basically, it's doing the center section as well as all the edges. About right there, it looks good. I think I'm good with that. Now make sure you select the line tool. Again, hit the Alt key and select with the left mouse button. And we're going to go in there and mark this sharp, basically. Alright, so now let's select the inner object. I'm going to also select Shade Smooth on this. And we'll go back to Edit Mode. And we select these with the Alt key. Actually, let's go back to Object Mode, and we'll hit Sharpen, and we'll hit the C Sharp again. Again, this is just a much easier way to control the sharp edges on a flat surface. Okay, so select this face here. And again, we're going to hit the Extrude key here, and we're going to bring this upward, so we can also hit the E key. Alright, so about right there looks good. And then the next step would be to adjust this. So I'm going to hit the Control B again, and I'm going to bring this out. Again, just use your roll on your mouse. I'm going to make this a chamfer, beginning of all this. Okay, so let's select the top piece again. We're going to separate this section out by itself. And again, We're going to hide that with the H key. I'm going to select this object here and go to edit mode. And then we're going to actually add in the actual bottom of this. So we'll select the edge here again, line tool, hit the Alt key, and once you get this selected, hit the F key. That way you can add a quick face to that. Cool, now let's go ahead and hit the Control B. We're going to add a little bit of a bevel to this on the edge. Now we got this object here. We're going to do the same thing. We've got to actually add the face to the bottom of this. So we're going to go to object mode here, and we're going to select the opposite and hide them. So first let's select this edge here with the Alt key. And we're going to actually inset this a little bit. And again, we're going to use the extrude key to bring it inward. And we'll hit the S key twice to scale it in. Cool, now we're going to hit this other line here, and this line here, and we'll hit the Control B, as in boy, to actually pull this out to get a nice bevel. And now let's select this with the Alt key. Again, same thing. Pull that out. And let's go select this as well with the Alt key. We're going to pull this out. Actually, Alt with the left mouse button, of course. Okay, pull this out. About there is good. Just adding a lot more smoothness along the edges. Okay, let's go and select this face here. Actually, select the face tool. And again, we're going to inset this. So hit the inset tool, pull this in. About there. One more time. Cool. Now we can actually also extrude this in. So let's go and make sure we select the face here. And extrude with the E key or use the button. And we're going to actually bring this up. And now we're going to select this edge here. And we're going to actually do a bevel on this. Go Control B. We're going to pull this out almost like a full sphere, basically. Right about there. Cool. Easy way to make a top sphere. Alright, so we're going to actually pull this up. With the extrude tool. Again, we're going to select this again. Mesh, we're going to separate this selection so it's its own. Let's go there and basically edit this section here. Let's select the middle of that. The faces. We're going to delete faces. Cool. And we can select this with the Alt key again. Left key, left mouse, Alt with left mouse. And again, we have the F key here. And we also are going to bring the extrude in. There's a cut there. You can hit the edge here with the Alt key and left mouse button again. Right there. And we'll do Control B again. Alright, so I made this into a bevel with a bunch of sections there. Cool. Alright, so let's keep moving on this. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to this object here. And I'm just going to select it and then edit mode. And one thing we're going to do again, we're going to select the edge here, and we need to put the bottom on this. So select points and also hit the F key. That will give it its base, and then we can actually hit the extrude key to bring this down. Cool. Let's go back to object mode, And we select this and hit the G key on the Z, basically to bring that down. Now I'm going to just do a little bit more cleanup here. Okay, we hide that. And this, making sure the base is good on that. Let's hide that. Let's go to edit mode on this object here. Basically, we're going to use these three here. We're going to link this to select everything on this section here. And we're going to separate this selection so it's on its own. Let's go ahead and hide that. Now on this one, let's go ahead and put a base on this as well. So let's go to edit mode. Select this edge here with the Alt key. And again, we're going to go back to point mode and we'll hit the F key. Just a real easy way to close these polys or these faces. Okay, let's pull this in with Control B. Give it a little bit of a bevel on the edge here. You're not really going to see that. I'm just adding a little extra in case I want to use this for something else. It's always good to have a good looking model. I always believe that a clean model goes a long way. Alright, so I just added a little bit of an extra edge here. So now I'm going to actually select these other sections here. Basically all those sections I'm going to select with the Alt key. The ones that you see highlighted. And I'm going to actually pull these up with the G key on the Z. About there. Just giving it some different forms. I'm also going to scale in just a little bit. Cool, now I can actually select this whole thing with the Alt key and hit Control B again. Just to give it a little bit of bevel. Cool. That looks good. Alright, so next step is to add shading to it as well as bring this into Decal machine. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it as we go through this process. I'm going to add in a actual plane. So I'm going to go to the shading mode here and make sure I put this on cycles as well as GPU. I always go to about 300 on my max samples. It's all the ones I pretty much change. Also, I want to add in a plane here, so let's bring that in, scale this up. And as I'm going to go to the side here, I'm going to hit the G key with the Z and get it right below that edge there. It's not going to really matter. I'm going to change this later on anyway, but just for understanding where things are located. So we can put it right on the edge of that, it's fine. Either way. Right. So let's go select the actual plane. Let's add a surface to this, or a new material. We're going to bring this up a little bit of blue, make it metallic. And I think the roughness is good at 0.5. I'm going to add in a mesh here. Add a round cube. And what I'm going to do here is just bring this up so it becomes this actual sphere. And then I'm going to subdivide this. So let's go to the modifier side over here on the right. Add modifier, go to generate, and then actually subdivision surface. And I'm going to go with 4 on this. First I went 3, but now 4. It's much better looking this way. Cool. Now we're just going to add a new material to this. We'll make this more in the center. Make it grayish. And we'll bring the metallic up to 1 again. And roughness at 0.5. We'll bring this up on the Z with the G key. Right to the edge of the surface there. So what I do a lot is I bring in a couple spears with change the actual materials on those and then add that to the decal. It's just an easy way to do things. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit more. So I got the plane selected. Hit the G key with the Z. Let's bring it down. We'll go to the bottom of this again. See what we're doing. Okay, bring this down the sphere to the base of that, and as well as the plane. All right, that looks better. Okay, so we're going to select the outer and we're going to add a new material. So let's select the blue for now. Add the center section here. We'll add another material. Make that like a dark gray. Yeah, we'll put that as metallic. Bring it up a little bit with the lighter gray. Cool. Now let's select the sphere in the center there. Another material. This time we're going to select this and delete it. We're going to pull this out and actually look for emission. Select it. Let's set the color and put it around some kind of a blue. And we'll bring this up to about 10 is probably good. Or lower. Alright, so let's select the inner piece, the center piece, and then the outer piece. And then inside. So I kind of want to just kind of go over the decal machine itself, the program on the side, which is the in panel, which is, you can pretty much go down the side here and look for basically machine 3. So in here you got this thing called create, which is the one with the little magic thing and the stars. That's what you want to make sure it's selected. And when you have your object selected, you want to make sure that this outer thing is always on the last one that you select. So you want to select all the inner stuff first. So for instance, this one I want to select first, right? Or I could actually select the emission here, which is fine. And then I could select this piece here and then make sure I unselect this one. But again, we want to make sure that this is your last object that you select with the shift key. And when you do this, my recommendations is make sure it's on Decal Create. And if you want to really high res anti-aliasing 4 times, but 2 times looks really good as well. I don't really necessarily need 4 times, but if you're going to sell decals, it might be a way to go. Secondly, resolution is what you want. So 1024 is a great 1K map. Now, if you're going to be using like a lot of screws and small stuff, I suggest 128. Just because you don't really need to high for something that's so small, you're not going to really see that detail. Just keep those things in mind. It helps make your system faster without having to bog down with too many image maps. So another thing is, if you got an emission, you want a bake emission. Now, when you hit this bounce light, it does add a lot more time to your render. I would normally go as highest as 2048. I don't normally go anything other than that. I just like that. It takes maybe 15-20 minutes, but to me it's worth it because it gives you a really good, nice looking model. So anyway, if you have one object, you're going to have a simple. If you got more than one object, you're going to have a subset. Just keep that in mind. And once you do select all these and you got everything set here, again, you can go 2 times, it's fine. Then you just hit this create subset decal. So once you have that created, we'll go to the next step, which is the original one that we're showing. All right, thanks. Anyway, so that's created. I fast forward this through, but I went with 1024 with 1K. As you can see, it's created the actual image on top of this. Now, one thing you need to do is to test this out. I will use the Shift D to move this and put this onto the sphere to test. So zoom out a little bit first. Move this side. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and Shift D this. Actually, I'm going to move the light a little bit to get a little bit better lighting over here. See what I'm doing. The main objective here is just get a good rendering of this so you can keep using it. Alright, so now that I got this object, I'm going to Shift D it, and I'm going to bring it over to the actual sphere. Make sure you hit the control key, and that helps you kind of like hold on to the actual sphere. Now, personally, I normally like to just, add this to the actual object. Once I get it where I kind of like consider to test it, one thing I'll do is I'll hit the D key. And what you do at that point is you're going to hit a few other things here. So, alright, so first of all, you hit the D key, we're going to hit project, but I hit normally the Alt key to do that at the same time. That way I can just pull it and then let it actually connect to the actual surface properly. And you'll see that it actually connects really well. Now I could go to the adjust there with the D key again, and you could do a little bit of the parallax with the D again. And the more you pull it in or out, the more it actually adds to the depth of your image, which is really cool. So you don't want to go too far. You want to keep it just right. You want to make sure you don't see a lot of lines. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, well, another thing you can do here is you can match colors. You can go in and actually hit the D key again and go in there and start using match colors. And this way you can just dial in whatever color you like. But normally these, colors are pulled from other objects in your scene. So whatever colors you have or actual materials, you gotta select through those. If you want something specific, you should create it ahead of time, at least in my opinion. Now the emission too is another one you can hit the D key and go to E. And the emission, you can pull this in or out depending on what you want and the way it look. Now this, they had you can't go too far on the emission, which you can actually go back to the actual shader itself and increase that if you need to. I'm not going to go over that process, but that is an option. There's a lot of good tutorials from Decal Machine himself that goes over the whole process of these things. So I'm not going to go over those things, but just giving you the basic gist of how to get decal onto your object for testing. So once you like what you see, you're going to select the image and you're going to say add image to whatever library you're going to have. I'm not going to go over that process either of how to add a library. That's another tutorial for that. But anyway, I really hope this helps you develop learning how to do decals. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask on the YouTube channel. And please thumbs up and subscribe. Really appreciate the help on that. Thank you. Have a great day.